This is MGTOW Values. Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States of America, has a rule: never be alone with a woman, other than his wife or other family, I presume. Why? Because he's smart. MGTOW is smart and has been recommending this for some time. Why? Because the statistics show that men interacting with women is so dangerously uncertain that any interaction, even consensual sex, can lead to life-destroying claims by a woman. MGTOW men look confidently at a bright and productive future for all men. Are these claims rare, black swan events? Well, they're not too common, with 170,000 charges by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission over a little over a decade. But neither are they a rare occurrence. But the damage to men can be career-destroying. Would you trade your career and livelihood for a conversation with a woman? No, not a chance. The appearance in the mid-1800s of the first feminists, who were an elite group of women, sought to enter men's universities but not start their own, to gain the vote but not access to the front lines of battle, to allow easy divorce but keep the men paying the women, and other demands that did not represent the interests and aspirations of most women at that time. Most women were satisfied and happy and safe in a marriage with men who worked hard, brought home money, and took the responsibility to raise their families as best they could. This was the normal, 90+% of women. It was less than 1% of women who wished to go to university, and only 1% of men went at this time. And those relatively few women who married a psychopath or sadist, or those few were still women who had resources that their husbands had then frittered away. In our era, we have venomous feminists like Catherine McKinnon, Simone de Beauvoir, Gloria Steinem, and so many others who have pushed for laws and strictures that demonize all men and build what is now known as the feminist economy. These women have corralled women with lies about the past, forced men into taking the Duluth model re-education, and created a delusion of fear porn that has crippled the young women of the present and made the MeToo witch hunt a reality. Men will remember hearing that, like the men in the past, they should initiate conversations with women, and women still to this day wait for this. Was it not also assumed that men's assertiveness in this era of sexual liberation was supposed to continue? It may have been assumed, but this was a trap. No, men who suggest having sex with women are harassers, assaulters, toxically masculine. And this puts men in a catch-22 situation. Don't ask and don't risk, or ask and risk. But why are men asking to have an ejaculation? This was never the case in the past. Men handled this biological need in a different way. But today, women and the media have glorified having sex with a woman as the finest of goals, while simultaneously shaming men who do so. Men are both forbidden from raising sexual issues with women and forced to do so in order to have relationships with women. And this is crazy. Oh yes, we hear of men, good-looking, rich, powerful, having sex with women all the time. But the MeToo movement is exposing their apparent safety. These types of men and other types may succeed. In most cases they initiate such discussions. But as we are seeing today, as in the Clarence Thomas case of 1991, these men can have their careers shattered on the claim of just one woman. A man propositions perhaps 100 women, succeeds with 10, fails with 80, and 10 wish to string him up. Welcome to the world of Me Too. Is all of this worth it for an ejaculation? Or is it part of the post-1960s mating strategy of meeting a woman, initiating intimate relations, and then joining together to form a family? Maybe. What is the success of this strategy, or indeed any strategy in forming a marriage and family that will stand the test of time? The statistics on this issue are much clearer, that there is a large and documented body of evidence that huge numbers of men suffer if they succeed in their pursuit of forming a marriage. They pay alimony, lose custody of kids, are driven into poverty, are victim of the Duluth model shaming on no evidence, and suffer humiliation. But it gets worse, into a revolving door jailing, homelessness, and extremely high levels of men's suicide in the middle-aged years. Boys are drugged to calm them down and publicly shamed as born with toxic masculinity. Role models in the mass media have devolved into farcical caricatures of strong men, with news reports repeatedly and most commonly vilifying men for bad deeds and never crediting them for good deeds. In short, there is an attack on men and on boys. The Mike Pence rule, which had been decried by venomous feminists, is now seen to be not only sensible, but a requirement to avoid the fate of pro-woman Democratic Senator Al Franken, a man who as a comedian made people laugh by his total abandonment of boundaries, both for himself and for others. This man was crucified for a joke. So much for sexual liberation, so much for strong women. Comedian makes a joke and women cry foul. Oh, the court jesters of old would have been protected, but today, even 15 years later, they must suffer some psychological getting even from some bitter, lonely woman. This MeToo witch hunt denies men the ability of defense, and in equating bad jokes or honest propositions with extreme mistreatment of women, removes the power of making any such claims. The result of this is that men should and must protect themselves from being alone with women, as women's intentions cannot be known or trusted, and that there is no statute of limitations. We are not talking about 4% of psychopathic women or 2% sadists. Apparently, we are talking about roughly 50% of Western women, when women initiating divorce, jobs, sexual harassments, university harassments, and other harassments are all totaled. Some women have even bragged about launching a sexual harassment charge against a man in order to gain promotion. This is a dangerous situation for men. MGTOW are compassionate for men who have been damaged by this system and allow all outpouring of anger. We will not be silenced or allow grieving men to be silenced by the uncompassionate and by venomous, heartless feminists. MGTOW recommend men's gaining back control of their sexual libido from the mass media, understanding the statistics of the dangers, and adopting the Mike Pence rule.